Welcome back to Daily Flash. I'm Andrea Jackson along with Mitch English. Before getting hitched, more celebrities are opting to make sure prenup is in place before saying their I do's. Joining us to talk more about celebrity prenups is Kristine Villarroel. She's a reporter for Business Insider. Kristine, great to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
So why are prenups becoming standard practice for famous couples and even not so famous couples?
Yeah, so I think prenups kind of just address the reality that a lot of times marriage is more of a business partnership than just, all the lovey-dovey parts of it. And I think prenups are just becoming more common to kind of avoid the drama and the mess that can come out when we're talking about divorce settlements and people kind of like hashing it out in the courts.
Yeah, paperwork is never really romantic. What are some of the most common key clauses, like no alimony terms, that celebrities are including in their prenups?
Yeah, so a lot of celebrities are trying to keep their properties separate and when they enter a marriage, trying to like keep their fortune separate. So a lot of times we'll see the no alimony.
Think of Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman. It sounds like they really
Yes.
kept both of their estates separate from what property she owned and he owned and X, Y, and Z. How are couples writing goodwill clauses to protect their brands and projects?
Yeah, so with Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban, something I found really interesting in the reporting about their divorce filing was that they kept all of their intellectual property and joint assets in LLCs and trusts instead of as personal property, so it wouldn't be divided in the divorce settlement. So I think a lot of times with the goodwill clauses that we're seeing is people kind of like putting their assets that they don't want to be part of the divorce settlement in a different entity, or maybe writing in the prenup that certain intellectual properties are not to be divided among the parties.
Yeah, I think it gets into a gray area too, Christine, when you're talking about social media. Who owns what accounts? Do you share pictures? Who has the rights to those pictures? How are these prenups covering who gets control of shared online accounts?
Yeah, so this is specifically, very important for like influencer couples where
Right.
they may have a joint account. A lot of times we'll see that they put in a prenup that the account is either to be shut down or to revert to one party, or maybe that they have certain ways to manage an account in a joint matter. A lot of times too, what we're seeing too is a lot of non-disclosure agreements where the parties are agreeing to not talk about each other on social media, which I think can be very
Oh.
useful for beyond celebrities. You can make your spouse sign a contract that they will not talk badly about you after the marriage ends.
Isn't that interesting? And I'm sure that they're policing emojis too when it comes to comments. How are these celebrity trends influencing prenups for us non-celebrities?
Yeah, I think the main thing to take away is that a lot of people who weren't feeling secure about asking for a prenup, there was a lot of taboo about it, or that maybe they didn't even know that this was an option, are knowing these things now because of all the reporting and people talking about the prenups that they have, all these celebrities coming out and saying, I have a prenup, I like it. And yeah, I think it is like inspiring people to include it in their own lives.
Okay, so Christine, we're going to have some fun here. We're going to play a little game called Prenup or Not. We're going to mention a few celebrity couples and we want to get your reaction. All right, first up, Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade. Do they have a prenup? Did they have a prenup?
They do.
Okay, all right. So I would imagine his basketball empire and her empire are kept separately. What about Seth Rogen and Lauren Miller? What do you think about this couple?
They don't, very proudly.
Okay, so they could be in some murky water. Okay, last up, Britney Spears and Sam Asghari. Did they have a prenup?
They did, thankfully.
Yeah, right. No kidding. And I guess that leads me to my next question. It seems like even some of these celebrity couples and even non-celebrity couples, even though they do have a prenup, oftentimes they're taking these things to court and they're rehashing them out. Does a judge have a final say in interpreting those prenups?
Yeah, so that's a very interesting question because a lot of times we're seeing in these prenups a lot of like lifestyle clauses or, with Mark Zuckerberg and Priscilla Shang, we see that they have a clause about going on a certain amount of dates. And I feel like all of these things are applicable during the marriage, but once it comes out to the courts, those aren't necessarily enforceable by law. So a judge does have the final say.
Christine, thank you so much. Interesting topic. For more on prenups, head over to dailyflashshow.com.